Someone destroyed the CERN collider, and you won't believe what scientists say happened.
Outside Geneva, Switzerland, is a gigantic physics experiment often called the Big Bang Machine, though its proper name is the Large Hadron Collider. The multi-billion-dollar project was turned on a year ago September. 9 days later, it was heavily damaged after some problems. Now, after 14 months of repairs, it is back up and running, and it could answer some of the biggest mysteries in science. Physicist Dr. Michio Kaku is host of the Science Channel's upcoming series, Sci-Fi Science, Physics of the Impossible.
The tube itself is about 8 inches across, 17 miles in circumference.
Right.
I went right up there and touched the tube.
Dude.
Now, of course, it's radioactive.
Right. Now, here's the problem. This thing fell apart a year and a half ago. 17 months or so ago. And some people said something was sent from the future to sabotage the machine because people in the future realized if this thing actually really works, it could recreate the Big Bang and we'd all get sucked into this black hole.
Well, there are a lot of wacky theories out there, harebrained theories. Everyone's jumping and putting their own spin on it.
Right, so to speak.
We're not going to be blown up from messengers from the future. Just realize that Mother Nature thinks of this as a pea shooter compared to cosmic rays that hit us every single day. Mother Nature has atom smashers out there more powerful than this pea shooter.
When Lear first described the soul trap, he didn't sound like a man inventing fantasy. He spoke like an engineer recalling a schematic. His tone flattened into procedure, inputs, outputs, systems. It's not mystical, he told one interviewer. It's a process. The body energy detaches, and within seconds the lunar network locks on. According to him, sensors embedded across the moon's surface detect consciousness as electromagnetic residue, drawing it upward into a transmission grid positioned near the far side craters. That grid's centerpiece, he said, was a geometric structure, cube or tower-like, anchored at a coordinate he refused to specify. Data flowing through that anchor streamed into what he called the processing field, an invisible energy zone enveloping the near side. The entire mechanism, he claimed, operated on frequency resonance. The soul vibrates like any signal, he explained. Change the frequency, and you change identity. To believers, the description resembled a cosmic data farm. To skeptics, it was metaphysical science fiction dressed in equations. Lear insisted he wasn't speaking metaphorically. He argued that humanity's concept of reincarnation, a recurring cycle of birth and death, was not divine design but software maintenance. They scan, he said, erase short-term memory and reinsert us. Same hardware, new scenario. This, in his mind, explained why people experienced déjà vu or inexplicable fears. They were data fragments from prior iterations leaking through the wipe. He named the operators the keepers, cautious not to label them extraterrestrial, but he often implied non-human intelligence administering the network. At times, he linked them with the Greys. Other times, he claimed they were purely mechanized, biological forms retired, systems left on autopilot. What mattered wasn't who built it, but why it persisted.
Some birds literally are not real. Go look up Project Aculine, Project Axiolite, and Operation Tucana. They were using birds as drones and cameras in the 1960s. Pigeons were flying to search the target to take high-resolution, detailed pictures, and then returning 50-plus miles back to the base. Could you imagine how advanced they are now?
Kylie Jenner's partnership with Dunkin' Donuts is eerie to say the least. For those in the know, I want you to take a good look at this picture behind me, and you'll see it right away. I mean, those who have eyes will see. Take a good look at that. Does nobody else find it eerie that a member of the Kardashian family, let alone the first billionaire within that family, is doing this in an ad with a popular donut and beverage company? I mean, come on, guys. Totally unrelated for entertainment purposes only, but I happen to find this photo of Kylie and her sister from 2015. It looks like on a Polaroid type camera. Take a good look at that and tell me what you notice as well. As if it wasn't eerie and creepy enough, I found this photo on the internet as well, and many people, hypothetically, are saying this is putting it right in front of our faces. So I'm sure an ad like this is just for artistic purposes only. It's only for entertainment, you know? They're just doing it because it's provocative and it gets people talking, right? There's no deeper hidden meaning behind all of these photos, right? Comment below with your thoughts. Am I onto something or am I tripping this time?
Russell Trust is the legal corporation that is the Order of the Skull and Bones. They finance the creation of host of security company under the Wackenhuts. They include a security service called Wackenhut Corporation. Their headquarters are in Florida. They have branch offices even in places like Portland, Oregon. Wackenhut handles all intelligence-related and super secret work classified ultra for the U.S. worldwide. They are the ones who guard the UFO bases topside, along with the CIA's Delta teams and various MP units. Their branch in Las Vegas provides security for the Groom Lake UFO facility. The Russells are responsible for starting the Skull and Bones Order, the Pilgrim Society, and the Masonic Daughters of Isabella.
There's no one going to talk about Spotify's new ad.
Heaven of internet witches.
Talking about skipping a funeral for music.
Sorry, Mary.
Then goes on to talk about selling your soul.
I sell my soul.
I want to ask you about a patent, an actual patent that the Walmart Corporation has. This is a patent for a shopping cart, and I think we have a graphic to this effect. This is a patent for a shopping cart that uses sensors to track the speed of your cart, your heart rate, your body temperature, and then feeds it into a server for analysis. I emphasize this is not a joke. This is not, AI didn't invent this, sadly, but AI is going to use it. Walmart has this. Why would Walmart want something like this?
Companies hem and haw and deny that they're using things like surveillance pricing in many settings. But I think if we look at what they do and say in other settings, the technologies they're building and bothering to patent, to get monopoly rights for, to monetize, if we look at what they tell their investors, if we look at the companies they're scooping up, they're buying up AI pricing tech companies who come to market offering new surveillance pricing technologies, it really paints a different picture of where this country is headed and where our economy is headed. This doodle is, pretty horrifying, but it's really just the first step, building out the ability to use, cameras and cooler screens to take a look at what you're doing, to use your grocery cart, to monitor your temperature. All that is feeding into consumer intelligence scores, agitation scores that better estimate how much they can convince you to fork over for every item in that shopping cart.
On my website, I have a patent of a machine that can read your brainwaves, can recombine them in a computer and send them back to you and make you think things happened that never happened. I mean, you can't get a patent for something like that unless it really works. You have to prove it to the patent office. It works. A patent was issued. And this is just one of the things that snuck by them that has, because when people invent things like this, they're sucked up by the government immediately, and then they're put behind the veil of national security and classified, and then nobody knows about them. But every once in a while, something sneaks by them. And when you do these searches in the patent office and the trademark office and in the copyright office, you come up with some real gems once in a while, and that was one. Also, the congressional investigations into the intelligence community has revealed the existence of these programs. I mean, there's no secret about it. It's documented. Project Artichoke, Project MK Ultra, MK Naomi. I could go on and on and on all day long. And, if you had the time in your movie, we could lay out all the documentation, which is official government documentation, and prove beyond any shadow of doubt that it's true.
Séisme de magnitude 7,4 en Colombie. Premier bilan annoncé, 47 morts. Exactement 47 jours après les séismes au Venezuela, le 24 juin, qui est le jour d'anniversaire de la franc-maçonnerie moderne. Et 47, c'est l'outil des bâtisseurs, né au sommet mondial de l'énergie, de l'université Columbia. Il parle déjà de transformation profonde grâce à l'instabilité. Il parle d'énergie comme d'une arme. En gématria, énergie et weapon sont égales à 74. Encore ce miroir 47-74. Ils utilisent même les mots nouvel ordre mondial.
A new world order to build something new, to redesign a government and embrace it.
AI leadership with the Rockefeller Foundation.
Donc à ce stade, la frontière entre théorie du complot et discours officiel devient franchement difficile à distinguer.
Spider-Man Brand New Day is filled with Masonic symbolism and truth hidden in plain sight predictive programming. And I'm about to break it down for you right now. I do think it is interesting how Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Jon Bernthal are in two of the biggest blockbusters of the summer at the exact same time in theaters with The Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day. But we'll just leave it at that. So the movie is based around mind control, and the government, the CIA, has openly admitted to experimenting with mind control during the MK Ultra project during the Charles Manson era. One of the most obvious, of course, of every Spider-Man movie, he shoots webs whenever he makes the devil horns. Here you see the duality, as above, so below. Him showing the one eye is evil, a sign of the devil, Lucifer, Satan watching over you at all times. And of course you have the horns on top of his head. This is of course made famous, Anton LaVey, one of the founders of the Church of Satan, or the founder, made famous in the 60s with rock stars. Also, you cannot get within 33 feet of Jean Grey or else she can control your mind.
You have a limit to your jump radius, don't you? 33 feet. I don't see anybody up here for you to hop into.
The number 33 is important in Masonic symbolism. Another obvious one is this inhibitor chip that Peter has to put in the back of his neck, symbolizing the mark of the beast, a microchip that eventually they want to start introducing. This is more predictive programming, more truth hidden in plain sight. They're even advertising this to kids in the popcorn buckets with the RFID inhibitor chip in the back of Spider-Man's neck. Secretive handshakes with ties to Masonic symbolism. They have secret handshakes.
Okay, so 15 years ago, an alien apparently photobombed somebody in Taiwan. Check this story out. This guy is Park Patrol Officer Shen Yongqiang, and as he was walking through Yiming Lake, deep in the Taiwanese Central Mountains, he decided to take a nice picture of the beautiful scenery, but when he looked back at the photos, he saw something very strange. That's right, he took this photo, and when you first look at it, it doesn't really seem that strange, but when you zoom in, that's right, upon closer inspection of that image, you can make out the transparent shape of this tall, alien-looking figure with a mantis-shaped head and long, spindly fingers, casually walking along the mountain ridge. And Officer Shen used an iPhone 4, and remember, this was all the way back in 2011, so AI wasn't a thing back then. And the really crazy thing is, after over a decade of professional analysis, the image shows absolutely no signs of tampering, editing, or manipulation. And not only that, but back in May of this year, the FBI released a historic batch of UFO documents and Shen's image turned up inside them. And the official FBI analysis of the image describes it as showing a legitimate physical entity that defies conventional human anatomy. And so the question is, what on earth did Shen Yongqiang snap on his iPhone 4? Was it an alien? Was it a demon? Was it something else entirely? Let me know what you think down in the comments.
1893 Chicago World's Fair. Guess what they're doing? They're taking radium, mixing it with terracotta clay, and making these bricks. You would take that brick, you'd put it in your water, and now you have perfectly structured water the entire time. I found this book people can look into. It was called Charles Evan Morris. It was Modern Rejuvenation Methods, and it was written in 1926. The last about 100 pages of that book, they talked about how they were healing every single ailment with radium water. That the hospitals did not need to exist because of how many things that they were healing with this. And this blew my mind. 1934, okay, after 8 years of them like realizing they're eliminating all these illnesses and pain and fatigue and uric acid and all this buildup that people are having, no joke, FDA comes up. First thing they go after when the FDA was invented in 1934, radium water. They made up a whole story. People are getting poisoned. They're getting sick. So then I thought, well, what is radium water, right? What is this? Well, radium water has a high level of sulfur. That's the yellow from the radium. And the radium water is the hot spring. So you're drinking water from the hot springs. And this is why the richest people in the world used to sit in hot springs and heal.
The Devil's Dam Gate in Pasadena, California was built in 1920. It was created to control the Arroyo Seco. It's located pretty close to JPL. Often dubbed as the portal to hell, the Arroyo Seco Dam is surrounded by occult history. It even features a rock formation that may look like the devil. Jack Parsons, who was a co-founder to JPL and a pioneer of rocket fuel, believed that the Devil's Gate Dam was a portal to hell. Parsons believed that the area held immense magical power. In the 1940s, Jack Parsons linked up with L. Ron Hubbard to perform rituals at the dam. They wanted to summon otherworldly spirits. He noted it as a thin spot between dimensions, ultimately a portal.
My grandpa used to drive locked semi-trailers for the military. Sometimes he would know what the contents of the trailer were, but a lot of the time he would just show up at a location, pick up a trailer that had a big lock on it, drive it to another location, and drop it off. One time when I was a little kid, I remember telling him how I was like deeply fascinated by UFOs, and he was like, well, you know, I drove some trailers into Area 51 a couple of times, and he said, this is, you know, public information. People know about it at this point. This must have been like 2012, 2013. As far as I know, it wasn't public information. But what he described to me is that he drove into an airplane hangar to drop off a trailer in Area 51. He was parked there and waiting for someone to come take the trailer from him. And in the hangar was 5 large white craft that were a cone with an inverted cone on the bottom. They set from the bottom to the top of the hangar, and around the middle they had windows. Here in The UFO Phenomenon, this is a book I've had ever since I was pretty young. On page 10, this is pretty much an exact depiction of the craft he said was in a hangar. I'm very curious why he was left alone in a hangar. There's other really strange things about my grandpa, and sometimes we wonder if maybe he was being experimented on by the military. He always had veteran medical status, even though he never fought in any war or anything. And the more he would go to the VA hospital, is seemingly the worse his condition got.